Hi, welcome back to Weatherford Daze. I'm Rachel, this is Jason, and we are back this final month of May, final week of May.
Isn't there a song in the Merry, Merry Month of May? Is that the Merry, Merry Month of May?
There's so many songs about May. It's a good month to write songs about. I think just kind of, I don't know, like here where we're at, it's not really the beginning of spring, but I know a lot of areas it's when you really start getting the flowers and stuff coming out in the beginning of the warm weather.
It was very rainy recently, and I know this is not a May song, but the drip, drip, drop little April showers stuck in my head. Isn't that from Bambi? Mm-hmm. All right, well, that'll come into play later, won't it? So, Hi, everybody. Once again.
We hope that you guys have had a wonderful Memorial Day, and right now we decided that we were going to have a little bit of a memorial, but to something slightly different, since we've been talking about mothers all month, and we've been talking about bad mothers, exactly. We decided that we would finish up the month of May with talking about good mothers. So we're
on a good note.
Yes, a good note. So we're going to be doing a good mothers tier list today, which we thought would just be fun and just wrap up May with joy. So
I know quite a few in real life.
Indeed. But we're going to be talking about fictional mothers. And I think we have a few stepmothers on there as well, so maybe.
I think so. Once we get to them, we'll have to define whether they inherited, the children rather than birthed them. I can't say it
right. But I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Scott, I hope that it can be heartwarming. I hope your heart is ready to be warmed, because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to actually write, because most of the time you just want to put all the mothers in that because they're all just amazing, right? But we're going to do our best to actually, we're going to have some levels in there, so.
You were absolutely right. When I was thinking of some of these and thinking what they came from, and I was thinking, how do we judge these? So would you say, I'll think up some things and you tell me if you have some really better ideas. I was thinking they can be tough and a good disciplinarian, not overly so, but in a good way. Do you think that'll put them lower down on the thing, or put them up? If they're a really good mom, but they're kind of more like your best friend, kind of, do you know what I'm talking about? That kind of mom?
I don't know. I think that more so that's going to be kind of actions, or like intentions more than actions.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
But there's also, kind of coming into play on some of these, I think there may be the level of sacrifice that was required.
That's a big one.
The amount of just...
How much they're in their kids' lives.
What is the most...
in their life?
The thing that's kind of defining of a good mom would be the amount of sacrifice and unselfishness. Does she put her kids first, or does she put herself
encouragement
first?
I was saying presence, like how much they're in their life.
With that, it's not really as much about discipline, because what are the intentions for the discipline? Are you trying to help your kids in a self-sacrificial way, or are you, just kind of doing things very rigidly because that's the way that or is your lack of discipline because of lack of care? Or is it, we're going to have to discuss motivations here.
A little bit, yeah. We'll try to give that its fair shake without making this like a 4-hour video.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Obviously, this is purely our opinions. If you have different opinions, feel free to debate in the comments, though we very rarely get any comments. So if you do, we'll be thrilled just to have some kind of interaction.
People watch our stuff and they go, you know what? I have no words. You did great. I have no notes. Is that what they said? The directors, they say no notes.
I hope that's the reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, we ready?
Yes.
Let's start. Jump in.
All right. I'm going to pull it up.
Okay. Who's first?
Our first is Maria von Trapp from Sound of Music, played, of course, by Julie Andrews.
Wow, starting off strong. Okay.
Yeah.
And starting off with a stepmother.
Yes, she was Maria Rayner. I found out it was her last name. I thought she was just Fraulein Maria. I didn't know her last name, but I do now. But she took on the mother role or elements of motherhood even when she was the governess.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she became, the mother, it blossomed out. What do you think?
I think she epitomizes the whole concept of like do the job that you want to be put in.
Oh, is it like dress for the job you want? Right,
I think that she like acts for the role that she ends up in. Like she just you didn't have to look for the person. Like she's just already doing the job. It just was a natural decision for the captain to actually fall in love with her because she was just naturally there. She was a part of their lives, and she was she took on that role so much that it only made sense that he.
Well, they already kind of loved her. It's just the question was, how is she going to deal with the love of the captain? Mm-hmm. That was the big. That was the big turning point. She already kind of had a love for the kids, and it was kind of like, okay, am I a wife or not? That's where. But of course, I think she was just denying her feelings. That's a longer story, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that she was scared of that, just from her background and everything. But yeah, like that's a bigger story. But where are we going to put her on the
warmth and joy and and healing to them, because they only had their father. They didn't really have a mother figure, so that was healing.
She gave up all of her dreams. Like, her dream was to be a nun, but she gave that up to find a new dream. And even stepping into it, knowing that that was going to be something that she was going to have to sacrifice for and fight for. Like, I feel like she has got to be towards the top, especially because, with being a stepmother, we talked about this in some of our episodes previously about stepmothers. It's not even something that just was chosen for you. She chose to be a mother to these 7 children, a stepmother, and she chose to be a good one. And I think that that's just such a beautiful thing. So I don't know, S or A? Why don't we start with her in A, and then maybe we'll see where the other ones come up. It's hard to just
give it a couple years, give it a year even, and she's like getting into S tier territory. She's already, because it shows her at the beginning of her. She's an
amazing.
A. She's an up there.
She is.
But also here's another thing too. She balances, because Captain Von Trapp is very disciplinarian, very like, he's a soldier, mm-hmm. right? And she softens him.
Okay, so you're saying start her in S? No, A. Okay.
I'm saying we start her in A tier. Yeah, I think we start her in A tier, and that's a really good place to be, because we could push her up depending on others.
We'll see.
But she's just the start of her journey.
We need to save S for a little bit and see if any of them really just
cream of the crop. Right.
Next, moving on. We have a lot of mothers to get through, so we're going to try and kind of
this one I'm probably going to give a little bit of info on. This is Frigga from Thor. We see her in Thor 1 and 2, and we see a flashback to elements of 2 in another movie, and that actually deepens how we feel about her. She is a really strong female character. She cares a lot for both Thor, her birth son, and her adopted son, Loki. It gives them a lot of nurture. But you see that she has this insight into the stuff that Thor is going through in the story. And she's a valiant fighter. She will fight to protect those that she loves, even to the death. So we don't get as much of her inner life and her emotion as we do with Maria. So I think that even though she deserves to be on the tier list, not as high as Maria. Okay. So we have quite a few letters that we could put her in.
Are you thinking B or C?
I wouldn't say C. I would say B.
Let's stay stick her in B.
Okay. So we're putting her in B tier.
Okay. Next.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay. This is a really good one. And if you have a dry eye at the end of this movie or at the end of her scenes, I'm sorry. You maybe have never been a mom before. But I'm a parent. Even before I was a parent, this movie, Tarzan, Disney's Tarzan, would bring a tear to my eye. This is Kala. This is an adoptive mother. She adopts Tarzan and raises him as her own. And it's so deep, way deeper than the book even did, because you hear her thoughts, you hear her speaking, and the music is just also laying an extra bit on that. But she loves Tarzan so much, and you see, even as Tarzan gets older, the way that he respects her, and the way it almost looks like, a man with his older mom. He's just like, he's carrying her and caring for her in that way, and it's a very special thing. So we do see her protective nature. She's very sweet with him, very, very encouraging. She lets him be his own man, because that's what he is. She lets him do some dangerous stuff, but still keeps him under some control. But there's some good stuff in there. I think she's also a B. What would you say?
I don't know. That one to me is a little bit interesting because you do have kind of the dynamic of there are different species, so the idea of her, she raises him the best that she can, but there's also, she can't give him a human upbringing. She's not human.
That's why he goes to the humans to find out who I really am. He wants to know who he is. But he doesn't forget about her. He still cares about her.
Right. I mean, she does the best that she can, but it's also kind of one of those where it's like, do you put her, well, she loves him and she stands up for him and she cares for him to the best of her ability.
Very nurturing. Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to put her quite as high just because.
Are you thinking C just because of the relation, that you can't fully relate to them?
I'm fine with B.
It's a B with a caveat.
At least at the moment. Right. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Just the whole thing of she does the best she can. It's, if you're going off intentions versus actual, she maybe didn't do the absolute best job of anyone, but she stepped in when no one else would, and
do you think we're also letting the wonderful music kind of fill in some of that emotional gap? Because those songs are fantastic. But if we didn't have those songs, would we feel the same?
I think so.
Okay. Because they can make you feel more of what's going on than you really see.
Any time when she is neglectful of him, or when she's not, when her intention is not to care for him in as self-sacrificial way as she can. So
B is fine.
B's fine.
This one is Kanga from Winnie the Pooh. And of course, her child is Roo. Now, I think she's honestly, I hate to say this, but if you have the pantheon of moms, she's not going to be as high because she's just kind of serviceable. And am I wrong in saying that she just does what a mom...
We don't get a lot of her story. And I think that's what's going to make us kind of put her in the middle, because you just don't really see much of her story. She's not the focus.
No, she's not.
But she's sweet.
We get to see a lot more Roo, because Roo wants to hang out with Winnie and Eeyore and have fun with them, and she's kind of going, now Roo,
we know that
she's
she
protective.
Cares for him.
Yeah.
She's just a good, standard, basic, sweet mom. I think just...
Do you think C, because at least Kala will fight? Has been known to fight. Or stand up.
Sure, and that's only because, I'm sure that there are the everyday, average sacrifices that are just common to all moms,
All these moms are great. It's just we're actually rating them, so we're gonna be a little bit.
And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong if your days are just ordinary, average, not horribly difficult, but not horribly easy either. It's just the everyday average sacrifices that every mom is called to make. And that's good.
So if you were to give a grade to somebody and said you got a C, they'd be sad. But in this, you shouldn't be. So,
Yeah. C is still amazing.
especially when we have so many good ones that we are talking about today. So many good ones that even being a C is not that bad.
I mean, when you're doing a tier list of good moms, pretty much the assumption is that everybody on here is going to be good to some extent.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Are we talking about evil, wicked stepmoms, or are we talking about good moms here?
Exactly. I think it was a lot easier to rate the bad moms than the good moms.
Oh, yeah. And, okay, so this mom we know from a Disney Pixar movie called Brave, and
Queen Eleanor.
We see
Though I
her.
don't think from the movie that I ever realized that was her name. That's not one that stuck out.
I didn't know that. I just know the basics of the story, and I know that her relationship with Merida and her is fraught with some tension.
The Bear Queen.
Well, she gets turned into a bear because of a magic spell.
Yeah.
And they have to heal the bond that has been broken or due to pride. And it could be pride on both their sides. So they're both very headstrong and very, stubborn in their own ways. They love each other, but the way they relate to each other is a lot. Some moms and daughters can relate to that. Is just this independent streak and how you deal with that. But we see her in half the movie as a bear. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. I feel like with her, she's going to be further down the list just because of how much tension there is between the two. But the entire movie is about the relationship between her and Merida.
Yeah.
And it's, you've got this arc. So it's like where she starts is not where she ends. And it's such a powerful story because one of the biggest issues that you have between mothers and daughters is just when you have someone that's so much different from you and you don't understand them. And I think that that's a struggle that a lot of moms can relate to, is just this thing of going, you're my own flesh and blood, but I don't understand what you're thinking. And then the daughter's side too of going, you're my mother and I love you, but why can't you understand me? I mean, that's one of the most relatable mother-daughter situations that you have. And I love this movie for that. Even more so than, the whole thing of Merida, will she, won't she choose someone and end up married and everything. Like, that's not even the point of this story. The point of this story is parents and children, learning to communicate and listen to each other.
So I think that they start out, probably their relationship starts out at a lower tier, but at the end of the movie, it hints that they're going up, that they're heading up to...
As far as what we actually get to see, we don't see her really being a good mom, necessarily. At least to Merida. You see her love and care for her boys, the triplets.
Yeah.
And you do see that she does love Merida. But I don't know. I guess I'm going, maybe she goes in C too.
You know what? I was thinking D. And that was because of the the tension. That the pride, remember when they said the pride, the bond are broken, I kept thinking, oh, it's Merida's pride. But wait a minute, Eleanor's got some too. It's a lesson they both have to learn. That was my thought. So I'd say D means the relationship needs some work, but I think she'll end up in the B for bear later. So that I'm thinking D. So I've got her in D tier, but I'm willing to move her up if we have a change, if you can convince me or we can convince each other.
I'm fine putting her there, especially because if we go with where, she is most of the movie, and just the fact that, we know that she ends up higher up, but yeah, that's where we're putting her because of the start.
Plus, I think there are some moms in this list that you probably have a lot more, emotional stake in just because they mean so much more to you.
Yeah. All right.
I think that. Okay.
Moving on. Okay. Next.
Wendy Darling from Peter Pan.
This one, I don't know because
She's a mother figure.
yes,
She's not looking to replace
I know they called her
mothers.
mother, but and she did the best she could as a young girl, but I'm going to say she can't possibly actually be high up in the tier list.
I'm sorry, we got to put her lower down. Here's the thing, though. I thought of the song that she sings where she says, "Your mother and mine." So she's basically saying, I might be a calming, figure. I might make you feel better, but your mother and mine is the tip top, the one that we are waiting for. So she's not saying, I'm your mother now.
I think that, yeah, you see that she's trying to be, if she's trying to give them something that they've never had before. She feels, so much compassion and love for the Lost Boys. And I love that about her. So no, I'm not going to put her, down at the bottom.
You're not going to put her in F?
I'm not going to put her in F.
Maybe a D?
But it's just that the role was too big for her.
Yeah, and they aren't her kids.
Yeah.
They never were, and she's okay with it. She knows that. That's what the song kind of meant to me.
Yeah. For the time that she had, though, she did a great job with, doing the best she could as a little girl. And I love that about her. But, maybe D.
Okay,
Yeah.
so unfortunately we're putting her in the D tier because she's not a mom. But she's next to one, which is confusing to me.
It is confusing, yeah. I don't know.
The other one with the evil moms was a lot easier. But well, we are doing really well, though, I think.
We'll leave her there for now.
Yeah.
Which means she'll probably get left there for good, but that's okay.
We're on a classic Disney roll here. We've got Bambi's mother, unnamed. I don't know if that helps. We get a name for almost all the other mothers. We just don't for this one.
I always loved Bambi's mother, though.
Okay. Can you sell that?
There's so much of this movie that just is about the visuals and the beauty of it. And, you're watching nature.
Oh, yeah.
And, we've looked at a couple of different non-human mothers, but I think just maybe she's kind of like Kanga and just very sweet, but also I have to put her slightly above Kanga because she dies.
That's a self-sacrifice?
And you also see, when they're really hungry and they're, searching for food throughout the winter months, and she's like, getting the food for him. So you see like the suffering and just the sacrifice that she gives, which you don't ever see Kanga do.
There are only a few characters that we actually see eating things. We see Pooh eating things. We see carrots.
Put her above that because she dies, and also, just the suffering and hardship that she went through in order to provide for her baby.
Okay, let me pull it up.
I almost would want to put her in A tier, but I guess we'll leave her in B tier.
I mean, she may graduate up to A tier.
She may.
So, yeah, we see some elements. I don't know. The thing is, we have these non-human kind of characters, and I have to read a little bit more into their portrayals. But with the humans, I think they seem to get an easier way of it because they're more expressive.
All right, next. Another one.
Another non-human. I don't know why this all happened in the same order that it did. And it's also another Disney character. I'm sure we'll get some humans coming up very soon.
I think we just ended up with a lot of Disney, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As much as people like to talk about how Disney does a lot of, no mother figures.
Oh.
I think that this is actually showing that there were a lot of mother figures in Disney. So I think that's a good thing.
Yes, and
they just happen to do a lot of non-human mothers.
I do. You had a connection to Bambi's mother. I had a connection to Mrs. Jumbo. That is Dumbo's
everybody
mother.
Does.
Does the fact that with her trunk and she's hugging him and like and rocking him, and she gets mistreated, and I think she gets a bum rap because they make her out to be something she's not, and she misses her baby, and it's just there's all this drama, and I think that heightens the emotional issues there. That's for me.
And also, too, how much she fights against people making fun of him. And that, to the point of actually being locked up
Yeah.
for trying to protect her baby. So she is so totally going to be going at least into A tier, if not S tier. A tier?
A tier is
A
good.
tier.
We might just graduate people if they are elephants, if we feel the need. It's our prerogative.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so almost, I don't know. Do we just go ahead and put her in S tier?
I love you, so yes.
Can we put her above Maria? I don't know. Maybe we need to bump some other people. We may need to rearrange this.
Should we put her in A tier and bump Maria up to S tier? We'll see. All right. So what's next? Okay, they're humanoid and they are human adjacent, but they're Disney again.
Okay, these are so fun.
I know.
Because of just how imperfect they are.
Yes.
I think that's one of the most fun things about this because, the intentions are so good, and yet they are so flawed.
Yeah. There's like some goofy ants. They're like, kind of, sisters. They're like ants, and they're kind of, disagreeing with each other, arguing, and it is funny. It's fun to watch them with her. But just
these are more like adopted aunties than mother necessarily. I don't think that, because there's 3 of them, they're not necessarily, but they're mother figures. They raised Rose or Aurora since she was a baby, and they were all that she knew as mother figures. And they absolutely, I believe, tried their best. So for intentions, I'm going to put them higher. However, the actual reality
is C or D
tier. Is going to be lower because they just they messed up so badly.
The cake.
Well, it's not even.
The cake is a symbol of their parenting style.
Well, it's more that they did not explain well to her. And she ended up
overprotective.
They were overprotective. They didn't explain. They kind of, very much brushed aside all of her questions and things. And I feel like they never gave her the information that she needed in order to survive and thrive in life. And that's a very dangerous thing. And I have no idea as far as what the Disney movie gives us. It's not like they were told that as she's an adult that they can't tell her anything. I know that they wait and they actually tell her as they're taking her back to the castle. But honestly, why could you not have told this 16-year-old girl, almost 16, why could you not told her who she was a little bit earlier? I know it's a secret and nobody's supposed to know, but why could you not have given her more information to arm her so it's not just such a complete shock to her?
Yeah.
Who she is and what her future is going to have. I feel like that's something that they took on themselves out of an overabundance of caution to make sure that, nobody knew who she was. But I don't feel like it served her best to be kept completely in the dark. I think if they had told her earlier on, she could have kept the secret of who she was much better.
I'm feeling D tier. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd almost be willing to put them in F, but we'll be nice because of intentions. We'll bump them up 1.
I was trying to be nice. I wasn't trying to. But you know what? If they might be a little bit miffed if you told them that they were F tier mothers, they'd probably be like, well, we're not her mothers.
Yeah.
We're doing the best we can. And
But also, were your choices completely about protecting her, or were you also doing what was more easy or comfortable for you?
You're starting to sell
Was
me on
there
F tier.
any? Yeah, no, I mean, we're completely speculating here, but
You're making a good case for
were you completely self-sacrificing in the choices of how to raise her? And also, them pulling out the magic wands when they did, even though they still were supposed to be secretive.
it. Yeah.
They pulled out the magic wands because it was easier for them, which ended up actually being the thing that put her in the most danger. Way more than having told her who she was earlier on, them having the little magical battle that drew the attention and exposed her and actually got her in trouble.
Pink, blue,
So,
pink.
so
No blue.
yeah, no. Oh, put him in F.
I could hear it in your voice. So we're moving them down a peg.
Because
Sorry, ladies.
their selfishness won out.
Okay, this is one that I could have a lot to say, but I'm going to sum it up. Too much. I'm going to sum it up. Is Martha Kent. This is an adoptive mother of Kal-El. They call him Clark Kent, aka Superman. The thing about Martha is, in the stories you see her with the husband, Pa Kent, but in some of the stories the father dies and she is just, left to kind of, be with him on her own. So her caring is she raised him to be a good American Kansas boy, to show respect for others, all the things that we see Superman good at, his morality and all of that, we see come from her.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think, and she's always a little old sweet lady, which is wonderful to me. I think that puts her at least B or A, just based on what her
A, just based on the morals that Superman has.
how her son turned out. She must have done something.
Yeah, the fact that he has just got such a good, clear vision for who he is and what his mission is, I think is completely attributable to Martha Kent.
And Clark still sends a little bit of his paycheck home to his mother in Kansas. Mm-hmm. So I'm putting her up in A tier. So who do we have next? Okay, now this is a superhero mom of superhero kids, a whole superhero family. It's Helen Parr, Elastigirl. And we see her in 2 movies, so we don't have a lot to work with as far as to see how good of a mom she is, but we do see elements of that. So what do you think?
So my first thought is not to put her super high up.
Okay.
Because I feel like we see her kind of choosing her career and her own desire to have, okay, so like one part of me goes, well, is she like choosing to do something that only she can do? That's what her thought process is, like that she would be letting down the entire world to focus on her children. But you see her, getting caught up in this other stuff and then kind of neglecting her children.
She brings her children in on this whole thing, though. So she pulls them into that world because they can do it. She knows they can do it.
Jack with a babysitter, doesn't she?
Yeah, but that's kind of because this is really dangerous and she doesn't know what Jack can deal with. But when she finds out, they're all slapping masks on each other on their faces at the end of the first movie.
I don't know. Like, to me, I just kind of go, I guess that's what most people think, that there's this ability to, when you're trying to balance career with motherhood.
Yeah.
Then it's very easy to get kind of imbalanced there and maybe not always, how do you choose? And I know that that's something that a lot of women really struggle with. And I don't want to guilt trip women, if it's like, oh, you made a decision and then that ended up actually maybe not being the best decision in that moment.
Right.
Because I feel like, she wasn't there when her baby kind of needed her. And so, that would be why I was thinking, maybe lower down. But also, we all think as mothers that, when we start going down the career path, when we start putting more time into it than we necessarily, wanted to. It's like you start having things pulling you, and you have to be able to prioritize, right? And sometimes we think that, oh, well, if my job, needs me, there's nobody else that can do my job. And, oh, well, maybe somebody else can watch my kids. But to me, I'm going, nobody else can be the mom to your kids. And so I feel like a lot of times we prioritize wrongly. I think that your priority always should be your kids. And so for that one, I'm going, for me, I think she prioritized wrong.
I was thinking B. Does that take her down to a C?
I mean, for me, I would.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I would rather see moms choose their children and have that understanding of, this is my calling, and it's more important than anything else. Like, I am the only one.
She came to the rescue of her husband, though, which was great.
Yeah.
And she took her kids with her, so that she's, just.
Yeah.
And she didn't know if Jack had like powers until they started saying he is doing these things.
True. Maybe I'm not being quite fair to her. She was in a really difficult position. Very, very difficult. And I mean, maybe
they're based off of the Fantastic Four, if you think about it.
And honestly, the dad was way more.
He was giving up his solid career for superhero stuff, and she told him not to do it.
That's true.
So he was more the.
Yeah, he was the one that was more about, I really want this glory and, all of the stuff that I had, rather than being able to just settle down and care for my kids.
He wants to feel like someone who has power and all that. We're talking about him, though. But
yeah.
So she is probably
maybe I'm attributing some of, what happened with him to her unfairly. Maybe I am.
Still sea level. Let's just sea level.
Okay. Sea level.
So Helen Parr, Elastigirl, you're going on sea level.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And I think that, I'd say she's definitely as good a mom as Kanga. Maybe we don't always understand her motivations.
She's also stretchy.
Or maybe I just don't understand her motivations.
Pouch.
And you do.
And she's stretchy. No.
I'm willing to say I'm completely wrong on her.
Right. Now we have a return mom, and we can also talk about her mom stuff. Then Molly Weasley from the Harry Potter series. We kind of put her in the last one kind of as a she's and she didn't even really belong on that level.
Well,
she was an F level evil mom.
Yeah, she was an F level evil mom, and yet I still feel like she managed to creep into the evil step mom or adoptive mom there, just because she made some questionable decisions.
Yeah.
She's not perfect. That is one of the things that I like about J.K. Rowling, though.
Yeah.
And yet, I also, I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with the way that J.K. does that. Because most all of her characters, even the ones that we really want to put up on these pedestals, she gives them flaws. Every single one. There's not any of the people that, you have Dumbledore, who's very flawed. You have Sirius Black, who also is very flawed. Remus Lupin. You go through this, that's part of the development of the story, is Harry finding out that all of these adults that he's looked up to and put up on these pedestals were not perfect.
Right.
Which is something that I really do think is a very interesting choice by the author. It's not something you see a lot in a lot of kids' books and movies, is this whole idea of, as much as you love these characters, you still see the flaws. And that's something that you see with Molly Weasley, is you see that as much as she became an adoptive mother to Harry, as much as her own children really loved her, she also had flaws. She was not perfect. She made mistakes. Even just the way that she treated her daughter-in-law, Fleur Delacour. you know, like she was very, I don't know, she wasn't very welcoming to her.
No, as a mother-in-law, not fantastic.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that's justifying the last tier list a little bit. But as far as, you know, just how much she loved and cared for her own children and her adopted children.
And she would still send one of them a howler now and again.
Yeah, which perhaps is not the best choice. There was also some of, the things that she did where, the choosing who got what resources when. It's like, oh, you get the secondhand robes, you get the secondhand books, and you're going to get the new because, Percy, you're the prefect and, well, you have to actually look good. Ron, you don't.
Do you think
There was
do you think
very
that
much
that pushes her down from an A down lower?
I mean, see, I'm not
C.
gonna put.
No, you said C. Okay, C.
Actually, yeah, I think she's C.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
I think she is C.
she would have been higher except for some of the choices she made.
She is she is flawed, and I love that she's flawed. But I also think that you can't put her as high as some of the others just because of how much you see the flaws and a lot of the choices that were maybe made out of, just not really being thoughtful or caring in her mothering.
Right.
There's probably going to be some people that absolutely can't stand how much I'm hating on Molly Weasley. Sorry.
Putting her on blast, as the kids say. But
Marmy March.
there's two of these in here that I think you're going to have a lot to say about, so we're going to have to really see if we could. Yeah, this is
Okay.
Marmy March from
Little Women.
From Little Women. Thank you.
So she was absolutely and always has been one of my favorite mothers in fiction. I love her. And I'm going to just go ahead and say S tier.
Any flaws? Anything that you can think of?
No. I don't think she has any flaws in the way that she's written. I think that she is
And still,
just
she shows up as very human still, even though she has no flaws.
very, yeah. But honestly, she is such a good example in the way that she lives her life. It's not, she's not necessarily overly preachy, and yet she communicates and she talks through all of the choices and decisions. She doesn't just live, she explains why. And I think, I don't know, I've always thought of any of the moms in fiction, I feel like she's the most like my mom. Maybe you throw a little bit of Marilla Cuthbert's practicality in there. But my mom is Marmy March and Marilla Cuthbert just mixed together. And I can't imagine a more perfect mom. So,
S tier.
yeah, indeed.
Okay. And Mrs. March, you are in Mrs. Jumbo territory. So tread lightly. So.
I think Mrs. Jumbo might need to tread lightly.
Okay, Mrs. Jumbo, tread lightly. You have a human over here. She's good. She's good people.
I'm just saying, she's
not
big.
mean. She's good people.
She could smash people if she's not careful.
Hey. Nice.
Well, that's why she has to tread lightly.
This one, I will try to speak as very little about as possible. It's Mrs. Brisby from The Secret of Nim. And her biggest, you said sacrifice. And that is her biggest thing. Because she has her young little mouse boy, Timothy. And they have to move before the harvest is coming fast. And the combines are going to destroy their house. And he has pneumonia. And she has to get a cure. And she goes on an adventure she does things that you would never expect anybody to have to do and deal with. And she does it. She shows she has the ultimate courage, which activates her amulet and allows her to save everybody. But it's the courage of a mother's heart, even if it's a tiny mouse. So here we got non-human again. But a very good mom But because we only see some elements of her and not a full picture like we do some other moms,
Mm-hmm.
from fiction,
Are you thinking A?
it'd be your A.
Okay. See, I thought you were going to stick her an S. So I guess we
No,
can stick her an A.
just because
Alright. Do you think that the journey that she goes on and the amount of sacrifice maybe does bump her up a little bit more than
if,
our B tiers?
I don't know, yes, I do. I will say this, this is making me want to push Maria up into A tier.
I've been thinking about that too.
Because she's going to be as good as, I think she could be a Marmee March to the Von Trapp kids in a year or two. But this is like, when you look at, I mean, Batman's still a great character in Batman Begins, but you know that they go through they're just starting out. This is their origin story, right? So, but you see Marmee as having been a mom for many years.
You already see Maria, who's teaching and training the kids, that she's, coming in and she's just pouring so much into them, so much wisdom. So, I don't know that we necessarily have to wait for all the years.
This would not be a tier list like you see on the internet if we didn't move things around.
Go ahead and bump Maria up. That's fine.
We'll talk about the next person and then we'll bump her up.
Okay.
All right. The next one is a hard one to do because she did some questionable things made some questionable decisions. This is Lady Jessica Atreides from the Dune series. And
the motivations behind what she chose.
Yes. Is she a good mom? I would say yes, but also there's a side of her that also goes and realizes that Paul is not just a figurehead. He is the Kwisatz Haderach. He is more than just a Muad'Dib and the Lisan al-Gaib. He's like more than that. And
I feel like that kind of cast a shadow over all of the things that she did, is that she was willing to not protect him in a lot of ways because of her belief in who he was supposed to be.
If she pulls back a little bit, he gets challenged and becomes better for it in some ways. So she's kind of good. That's kind of a little bit good, but...
Yeah. But some of the decisions she made were just so questionable.
They have a basis, and Frank Herbert talks about this.
Like, you can understand why she did what she did, sure, but I don't think that necessarily... It's a
manipulation of religion, though. She's using religion as a manipulation in some ways.
And the thing is I feel like she goes into it with her eyes open about what the manipulation is and, how she has been manipulated. Because there's an element of...
with the Bene Gesserits.
She's been raised to believe this way, and she's been given, this value system of what she is and what isn't supposed to do. Like,
she was supposed to have a daughter. She was supposed to have a daughter, and she said no, and she manipulated and had a son because she loved Leto, and the father wanted a son, and she goes, I'm going to do that. So I don't know if that's a good wife thing or a good mother thing. I had my questions about her, and now even more so, I kind of have those solidified. She's either D or C. Sorry.
D.
A great politician is not always like a thing you want to be proud of, but she's a great politician.
I'm saying D.
She's a reverend mother. So, okay. Wendy Darling and Eleanor from Brave and Jessica Atreides. I never would have thought they'd be on the same conversation. I don't know how that went out that way. Because Wendy never witnessed murdering thousands of people. I thought she'd say she's a mass murderer. Anybody in war could be considered a murderer in some ways. But I'm like, Queen Eleanor never did anything that rough, and Wendy never killed a fly. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I got struck by that. Oh boy. Okay. All right. You've read the books, so okay. Sally Jackson. Yeah, Sally Jackson, Percy Jackson's mom. She's a mother to a demigod. What do you think?
Okay, So, Sally Jackson, Percy Jackson's mother,
Mm-hmm.
she is a fascinating character. And, okay, so one of the things, like, you see that the reason why her character is so complicated, why it's going to be difficult, there might be a little bit of question here, because number one, she stays with an absolutely horrible man who is horrible to her son. Like,
doesn't he smell horrible as well?
He does.
He drinks as well.
And that's why she stays with him. So, but for all of Percy's, like, growing up, he's going, why on earth does my mom put up with somebody who is abusive? He's abusive. He just treats her and him horribly all the time. Like, we actually end up seeing him turn to stone at the end because of the head of Medusa, right? He opens the refrigerator.
Oh, God. I didn't mean that part.
Yeah, so, but, and there's actually, like, everybody's kind of going, that's great. It's a fitting end because this guy is just so horrible. And that's who she chooses to be Percy Jackson's stepfather. But we also find out that she did that and she put up with that because he stank so badly that he was actually hiding the scent of Percy Jackson being a demigod, and it was keeping Percy safe his entire life. So, like, motivations were good, right? But end result was just misery for her and Percy their entire life.
And she didn't explain anything to him until he was like, what,
No.
14, 12?
Exactly. And it's like, did you really have to make those decisions that way? Was that really the best choice for you? Like, really? I don't feel like that. You know, sometimes you sit here and people are like, well, I had to make this just choice because I couldn't see any other choice. And you're just going, really? You know, there had to have been some way. I struggle with that. You know, you're sitting here going, there had to have been a better way. There had to have been a better way. Nobody else, none of the other demigods, mothers or fathers ended up having to make these kinds of decisions. You find out once Percy gets to Camp Half-Blood that, like, most all of the other kids knew what they were their entire lives. Their parents did not hide it from them. Percy grew up thinking that he was dumb as well because he had, he struggled so badly in so many ways that ends up, it's like, oh, well, that's, your demigod abilities that are kind of interfering here, and these are actually what are going to strengthen you and make you stronger. Which I get that was what the author was trying to help kids who have, these struggles and help them to feel like empowered and, actually good about themselves.
Your ADHD and your dyslexia. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's like a need of plot here, element to it. But does it actually make the most sense in real life? Was she making the best decisions that she could make here? Or did she just end up getting manipulated into being a bad mom because the author needed a plot point?
I think you answered your own question.
But she also sacrificed and put up with that for Percy. Like, her intentions were good. According to, I think that Rick Riordan wanted to make her a great mom.
Some moms have stayed in situations with a guy that was terrible to them because he made good money and provided for them.
Never what's best for the kids, though.
Right. So there's two sides to Sally.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, this one's a difficult one. Because I feel like her intentions were really good, and yet the result was really bad. So I can't put her up, as being like, oh, well, she was self-sacrificial in all of this. And, Percy loved her so much, and he understood why she did what she did. At the same time, as an adult, I'm going, I really don't think that she made the best decisions, and I think that she was really blind in a lot of ways. Maybe she was doing the best that she could for what she thought, but that doesn't mean that she was actually wise.
Is that taking maybe a B or A level mom and knocking her down to a C?
Or a D? Or an F?
Oh, wow. Percy still loves his mom. I don't think you could love an F very well. I don't know. D. I'm voting D. I'm being a little bit. I'm being kind.
We'll put her to D because of her intentions, but I feel like her actions should have landed her an F. But that's okay.
We might still knock her down to F. So sorry, Sally. So.
Okay. Next, another really fun one.
A YA novel person again.
So Narcissa Malfoy. Oh, I feel like this is one of those that I feel that JK wanted to have us question everything that we knew. You know, she introduces a mom that's really, really great in Molly Weasley.
Right.
And then, you know, she shows us the kind of the bad parts. And then with Narcissa, we're introduced to a mom that's bad, right? But then all of a sudden, plot twist, we find out that she's actually really good. She's willing to put her own life at risk and lie to Voldemort in order to protect her son to the best of her ability. And so it's kind of, you know, she's put into this situation. We have no idea why she became a Death Eater. You know, were the feelings there on her own? Was she just in with the wrong crowd? Who knows? How much of those beliefs were her own, or how much were kind of just because of the family that she was a part of?
Right.
You know, did she just go along with the crowd in order to go along? Or because she was scared and didn't see a way out of it?
You do the best with what you have got?
Yeah, we don't know. But we do know that in the end, this mom right here, because she was being a mom, and only because she was being a mom, is the reason why Lord Voldemort was defeated.
That's a longer conversation to have. Because I think I was waiting for you to tell me how. But
well, because she lied to Lord Voldemort about Harry being dead.
Oh.
She said that he was dead when he wasn't. And she asked Harry, so you see her motivation. She's like, is Draco okay? She's asking about her son. And she goes, you know what? It's in Draco's best interest for Voldemort to be defeated. She made the choice between Voldemort and Harry, who was going to win right then. And she took a risk that Harry could actually win.
Do you think she bought him a victory?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I think she did.
Okay.
So, I mean, in the end, it was down to, and that's the thing. J.K. Rowling was drawing a direct parallel between Harry's beginning of he survived Voldemort in the beginning because of a mother's love, because of his own mother's love.
There you go.
And it went to the end, he survived Voldemort in that last confrontation because of a mother's love. Right. And it was this mother. And so there's that very strong, just like we're tying it up from one mother to another mother. This is very much a story of, you know, you don't think about the mothers having that much power, but they do. And it's a very just beautiful theme to these books. So, yeah, I'm going to say she's not going to be an S tier, obviously. She just can't compare to Marmee.
No.
And I think that some of her decisions just to go along and get along is maybe going to bump her down from A. But I think that she can belong in B.
B. That's what I was thinking too.
Did I really just put Narcissa Malfoy above Molly Weasley? Did I actually do that? Oh no, I can't do that.
Do you want to switch them?
Oh,
Or do you put Molly and Narcissa on the same tier? We do, don't we? We do.
I think we have to.
All right, switch them up. Now Molly Weasley would be like, "What?
And I
How
think
dare you?"
that they're ending up in that tier just because of the strong emotional connection that I have with these characters more than anything else. So I'm going to just
We're
go
gonna have
ahead
a
and
lot of
say that.
we're gonna have a lot of B tier moms. This whole thing is gonna just, yeah. So what's next? As you know, we love Mary Poppins. So here we go.
All right. This one's fun too because she's definitely not going to be in the top of the tier list, right?
Yeah.
She's a good mom. She's definitely a good mom. She's also just not a very thoughtful mom.
Here's a quick aside. I'm not mad at moms that need a governess or a babysitter or whatever Mary Poppins is, but does she really have to spend all her time? What does she do? I mean, the dad's a banker. They have a nice house. Does she really do suffragette meetings all the time?
It's not possible. I feel like that was more of like a society status thing. Is that it just was expected that moms were that had a certain standing in society were going to have a nanny.
Hmm.
And for that, it's like, she wasn't different from all the other moms around. She just was doing the status quo.
And are we judging them based upon our experiences?
Yeah. But also, I don't like the status quo back then. Do I feel like a mom can never have help? Absolutely not. Especially moms of multiples. If you can have help, great. That's wonderful. Whoa,
I
not
could
in the
understand if it was.
book.
Was there an extra?
Yeah.
There's a child
There's
that never talked about.
baby. They had their babies. I think they were twins.
Oh no! Wow.
I know there was at least, no, I'm pretty sure they were twins. Twin babies.
Okay, I'm changing my mind now because I was like, 2 kids. You can't do 2 kids.
Yeah, well, that was from the movie. In the books, she does have more. But
What do you think?
I think I am just tempted to put her in D because we don't really see her being self-sacrificial at all. We don't really see her sewing into her children at all. We don't see her spending any time with them. I don't think that she's deliberately not being a good mom. I just don't think that she.
That's the problem with really really good nannies is they start to slide into what the mom should be doing in the first place. Sorry, hate to say that.
I am hoping that by the end of the movie, when the dad has a realization that he needs to focus more on his family, that then means that the mom also kind of just follows his lead in that.
So D tier?
But yeah. Put her in D tier. You keep pulling ones that I just have to discuss. And we're getting so long already. All right, we'll try and make this fast. Mrs. Bennet, F tier.
Give me 3 reasons why.
Lydia. She is so ridiculous herself that she raises the most ridiculous. I have no idea where Jane and Lizzie came from because they certainly don't take after their mother at all. And they're way more thoughtful and considerate than their father even as well.
They're like from another world.
Yeah. Mrs. Bennet is just, she's silly and she's selfish.
And she wants to get them married off. And that's really not the most important thing in life. It really isn't.
And I mean, I don't think that she's a bad mother. You see her love for her children. She really does love them and she wants what's best for them.
Right.
It's just that she really doesn't know what's best for them most of the time. you see in some ways some of these, odd glimmerings of wisdom that pop through, but it's like almost not even intentional. It's like, oh, well, that's a surprise, and that shouldn't be a mom's experience. But then the way that she reacts to Lydia's whole situation, like going into despair, and then she just makes everybody wait on her, and she's like, oh my, my poor heart, and like all of this. Yeah, she's so selfish. But then after she finds out that Lydia and Wickham are married, she's like, oh, that's so wonderful and everything,
And Wickham's terrible.
yeah.
She wants to get
And
married
she
off so bad.
welcomes-
She's like, oh.
And she welcomes him in, and she's like, oh, everything's just wonderful now, and he's wonderful. And Lydia's life is going to be so wonderful. And it's like, there's absolutely no, like, connect the dots for me here, Mrs. Bennet. You're being absolutely just ridiculous.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Bennet, but the Reverend Mother of a worm-riding jihadist political leader is a better mom than you.
Wow, okay.
Yes, I was thinking of how to say that while you were talking. So, yeah, I was like, that'd be cool. Anyway. Okay, she's in the F tier now.
Aww, I love Marilla Cuthbert.
Does she have any things that could be perceived as flaws?
Oh, well, yeah. She's
How
very...
she expresses love, maybe? Or she's not as
See, the
touchy-feely
thing
as
is,
some
she
adoptive
has a
moms?
character arc.
Yeah, she does.
Because she doesn't come into this knowing how to be a mom. She's very stern. She's very strict at the beginning. But because of how much she loves Anne, she changes and she grows. But even then, it's like everything that she does, there is wisdom, and there is love, and there is unselfishness behind all the decisions that she makes. And that's why she's able to learn and grow the way that she does. And I mean, probably her worst moment is when she, the way she reacts to the brooch being lost. And yet, like I said, we can forgive that just because of how much she changes and grows. Marilla is one of my favorite moms of all time.
Does that make her S tier or A tier in your mind?
Okay, maybe she doesn't completely earn S tier, but because of how much I love her.
A.
No, S.
Really?
I have to put her in S just because I love her so much.
I was trying to be even-handed, but you know what? This is your baby.
I'm going to completely admit that is not impartial. It's just because I love her.
Okay. Marilla Cuthbert, you are S level. You're up there with Marmee, and you're up there with Maria and Mrs. Jumbo, an elephant. So I think that's good enough to bring it to a close. I think there's anybody else that we could talk about that that's the best way to end this is on a Marilla Cuthbert.
I think so.
And if you have a moment to look, here's the final tier. Take a look while we're talking. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that was really fun. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this kind of bright way to end. And that I hope that, the very partial opinions have not been too bad. So, yeah, for next month, we're looking forward to some more fun. Do we want to spoil it? Or do we want to save it as a surprise?
Do we want to set the stage for something that might be very musical? That's all.
So we're spoiling it.
That's all we can say.
We're not. Okay.
That's all we're going to say. Yeah.
All right. Set the stage. So, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for sticking around with us. And, we'll be willing to put all of your moms on that S tier as well.
I know our moms are.
100%.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks.